I was surprised and a little shocked that already, right in the middle of January, that new bullion coins bearing King Charles' likeness are now available to buy. Let's explore! The Type 1 gold and silver Britannias that were released late last year may be short-lived, or maybe they will co-circulate, for lack of a better term, along with these new bullion coins bearing King Charles' portrait. Found this story here today, the comment.net, and also saw a cool YouTube video that shows these. I'm going to show it here in a moment, but this is fascinating. By the PA News Agency, the Royal Mint has unveiled its first bullion coin to bear the portrait of King Charles, and the new King's effigy for the 2023 Bullion Britannia coin marks the start of a new chapter for bullion coins. And you think about it, when the bullion coin program started, there was only one monarch that had been on them for 5 effigies, and that was Queen Elizabeth. Now we have, struck in fine gold and enhanced with security features, Britannia coins can be purchased from the Royal Mint's website. Below Britannia's flowing gown, a trident becomes a padlock as a viewer changes her perspective in this lenticular device. Surface animation on the coin reflects the movement of the waves. And that stems from the phrase Britannia rules the waves, which became a controversy when another coin had that phrase on it, and they had to remove the phrase on silver coins. The 2023 Bullion Britannia coin has special security features, which are also very decorative. As we know, it is far outpaces the United States Mint and is very competitive with the Royal Canadian Mint. These added security features both decorate and protect the coin, the Mint said. Microtext that borders the design states "D'acuste Tatamen," which translates to an ornament and a safeguard. And you can see it there is the phrase there when you look closely on that image. The price of Royal Mint bullion coin varies depending on changes of the gold price. And this here, I didn't look up the Mint's website and try to get this video out fairly quickly to see if the silver is available as well, but here is the gold version, and there is the portrait that most of us are aware, with a very large ear on it, I might add, but nonetheless, there it is. And of course, you can make the distinction or the preference as to which one you like better, the Queen's head or the King Charles. However, I will say that the Queen has been on so many coins, it's kind of nice to see a change, even if it's a monarch that coddles and loves the act of globalism and the World Economic Forum. It is what it is. A 1-ounce fine bullion coin was on sale on the Mint's website for around £1,700. Now, that they talk about it being gold, but what about the silver version? Andrew Dickey, Director of Precious Metals at the Royal Mint, said, while the design of the Bullion Britannia coin remains consistent, the 2023 dated edition begins a new chapter for Royal Mint bullion coins as His Majesty the King's portrait appears for the very first time. Bullion coins are an attractive option for many investors looking to diversify their investment portfolio. Indeed, they do, and it is something to see here. There is the portrait, and I have one of the Type 1s, and I'm very curious to see, as no information that I see is out there yet as to whether or not these will be offered collectively or both at the same time. You can buy the Queen or Charles portrait, but apparently this portrait has been approved by the King, and it went into production late last year for commemorative coins, really commemorating the Queen, but it has the King's portrait on it. Now, you will notice that there are other mints, and even the Royal Mint itself has already issued coins of other bullion and better bullion with the Queen's likeness on the designs, because they mint many of these coins in the prior year. So they were already minted or ready to be minted by the time the Queen passed, which was, I think, in September. And now, in Canada, where they don't really like to change the effigies too much. In fact, for their bullion coins, they have only had 2 effigies of the Queen for all of their bullion programs, mainly the maple leaf. And so the maple leaf design bearing the image of Queen Elizabeth was only 2. One is known as Long Neck Lizzie, which is a rather attractive younger queen on those coins. And then we have the grotesquely ugly Susanna Blunt version, which is really kind of a cartoon, heavily smooth, whitewashed version of the Queen that was first emblazoned on their coinage in 2003 or 2004. What we're going to look at now is a video from My Gold New Zealand that shows what these coins look like. Apparently they have them and ready for distribution here in gold. And there you can see there's the image of the king and on all of these gold coins. Remarkable, very nice display there you can see showing these pieces up close and personal on what it looks like to see it on the actual coin itself. So there it is. Now it is a very age-appropriate likeness approved by the now King Charles III, and but nonetheless, there it is, and available now for purchase. Surprisingly, this early. I thought for sure they would wait a bit, let the other coins circulate. And again, I would love to know if the Type 1s are finished now, available for limited time, and now these are the ones that are going to be in circulation only, or offered, or if they will be offered along with Type 1. It'll be very interesting and fascinating to see how that plays out. But I hopefully will get one in due course. I'm not really chomping at the bit really right now to grab one of these, but it is fascinating that they've been offered this soon and making news today with this offering. Are you going to collect these? What do you think about changing monarchies? My guess is probably, though, places like the Royal Canadian Mint, who are going to be using what is known as a transition portrait of Susanna Blunt's with a double-dated 1952 to 2022 for their bullion coins for 2023, at least so far. We may see Queen Elizabeth on coins in these other nations for the rest of the year, or for at least most of the rest of the year, as some of these other Commonwealth nations can either choose to adapt or create their own portraits, which my guess would still have to be approved by the king. So we shall see what happens in these other nations. And it is a little disappointing that the Royal Canadian Mint is still using that Susanna Blunt image, which I absolutely abhor. But nonetheless, it is certainly the case to be that that is what they are going to do through 2023. The other question is that now that the Royal Mint has released this image and now they are available to the public, is what are they going to do, these other Commonwealth nations, with regards to having the monarch on their coins? Will they do like Fiji did and reject that? Will they leave the Commonwealth? Will they become completely independent or what have you? I'd be very curious to see and what the monarchy, what kind of power and what kind of influence they're going to have on these Commonwealth nations in regards to their coinage. Is it a hard and fast rule that you keep this monarch on the coins? I would love to know and see what happens with some of these nations. It's an interesting discussion, and now that we are in this point of transition, what will some of these nations do? Is Canada maybe thinking about using a coat of arms instead of the monarch's image? Can they do that and still remain a part of the Commonwealth and show respect for the monarchy? My guess is it would be the ultimate thumb up to the monarchy if they do remove the monarch from their coinage. A fascinating time we live in, and a time of transition as we learn and we find out what's happening. But already the Royal Mint is first out of the starting gate with regular bullion coins featuring the image of King George. And you notice the galoche pattern remains the same, which was on the obverse of these coins when the Queen was on them. One other thing to note here is people that have often wondered, well, hey, the side with the image, some people mistakenly call it the obverse, but as is always the case on all of these coins, the image with the larger portrait of the monarch is always the obverse. I say that because there are certainly coins that have the monarch's image on both sides, but the one that has the larger head is always the obverse, the side with the denomination and the markings of the royalty. King Charles III, and you've got DG Rex FD there. So I hope that helps clear that up. Let me know what your thoughts are on this subject. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.